A protracted legal battle could scuttle the Lubowa International Specialized Hospital project, which is already mired in controversy. When completed, this facility, with a 264-bed specialized healthcare capacity, will be operated as an internationally accredited facility. It will treat conditions such as cancer, heart disease, and offer organ transplant, fertility treatment, high specialized surgeries, and bone marrow transplant, among others, to save the country about $120 million spent on treating high-profile government officials who receive such perks. However, the Ugandan government, which is the guarantor of promissory notes worth a staggering 1.4 trillion shillings to the investor, bears a risk if the litigation process becomes costly.
Government of Uganda signed an agreement with, to my best of my knowledge, with a company called Finasi Roko SPV. And for us, we keep to our legal obligations, and they do their business, which is none of ours.
NTV has learned that on 14 June 2019, Roko Construction Limited filed a suit in the Civil Division of the High Court to restrain two parties, Finasi Roko Construction SPV Limited and Finasi International FZC, from proceeding with the construction until a main suit is disposed of.
The whole process is really not clear. It is not transparent. The process that led to the award of the contract, it already has, at the beginning, there was already a faction. There was already disjointed advice, legal advice from the Attorney General on how the deal should come into place. At first, you're not engaging Parliament because the Attorney General says you're not supposed to engage Parliament. Then when it comes to issuing promissory notes, you say that you need Parliament's approval.
According to the interim order, which was granted by Joy Kabaje Bahinguza, an assistant registrar in the High Court, it reads, and I quote, "An interim order issues to restrain the first and second respondents from evicting or alienating the applicant, who is now in possession of the site, from the International Specialized Hospital Project site at Lubowa until miscellaneous application number 370 of 2019 is heard and disposed of." The interim order came on the heels of a recent incident when the Italian investor Enrica Pinetti stormed the site with SFC soldiers, the military and police as she attempted to evict Roko Construction Limited and replace it with a Chinese construction firm.
The matters are already in court between a company called Finasi Roko Construction SPV and another company called Roko Construction. These are two separate companies. That is their business about contracting.
On June 10, 2019, Roko Construction Limited Managing Director Mark Kohler authored a letter addressed to the Health Ministry Permanent Secretary, Finance Ministry and Finance Minister. It reads, and I quote, "Roko Construction Limited as the constructor has already agreed with Finasi Roko Construction SPV Limited on the terms of the construction contract. Roko Construction has also provided a performance security for the construction works and a letter of comfort from its bankers to Finasi Roko SPV Limited upon the latter's request." Roko reveals further that, to our shock and surprise, on 6 June 2018, Finasi chairperson Enrica Pinetti came to the hospital site at Lubowa with special forces, the military, officers of Uganda police and a Chinese contractor not known to us, and told Roko Construction Limited staff and security to vacate the site and should hand over the site to the Chinese contractor. Roko believes that Finasi is violating the terms of the project works, investment agreement, financing agreements, and the resolution of Parliament. The construction firm says it has spent a lot of money and time, that the consequences of defaulting on the agreements are extremely high and grave to all parties should Roko be ejected. This would also violate the terms of the joint venture agreement between Finasi and Roko Construction Limited relating to the development of the specialized hospital. With the project running into a number of hurdles, one of the conditions precedent to construction could affect the commencement. NTV has learned that the construction contract between the seller and Roko Construction Company Limited has not been signed, contrary to the provisions of the promissory note purchase agreement. The parties to this agreement include Finasi Roko Construction SPV Limited as the seller and Africa Export-Import Bank, Absa Bank Limited, Barclays Bank Uganda Limited, Eastern and Southern African Trade and Development Bank as arrangers. Under the note purchase agreement, it is indicated that the seller shall not enter into any amalgamation, demerger, merger, or corporate reconstruction of the project. This is the premise that prohibits Finasi Roko SPV from entering any illegality which is prohibited by the financing documents. Roko Construction argues that it cannot compromise on the quality of work if the Chinese firm is party to the construction contract. It is our opinion that contracting a different contractor other than Roko Construction Limited, which is specifically mentioned in the note purchase agreement, would constitute a material amendment in a manner contrary to the provisions of the agreement. I close quotes reads a letter written by Roko management. Before this dispute arose, Finasi Roko Construction formed a special purpose vehicle and entered into a project's works investment agreement with government in May 2015. A special purpose vehicle is a distinct company with its own assets and liabilities as well as its own legal status. Usually, they are created for a specific objective, often which is to isolate financial risk. As it is a separate legal entity, if the parent company goes bankrupt, the special purpose vehicle can carry its obligations. In the Memorandum of Association, Finasi International FZC, which is domiciled in Dubai, an offshore safe haven and secrecy jurisdiction, has 95% shares, and Roko Construction Limited has 5% shares in the SPV. Its board of directors includes the Finasi boss Enrica Pinetti, who is a director and chairperson, and Roko Construction boss Makola, who is a director. Whereas the ownership of Finasi International remains shrouded in secrecy, there have been barely any attempts to pierce the corporate veil of a firm whose face Pinetti has been named in the offshore leaks.
Very, very suspect, because if this is a person that has been investigated, or if this is a person that has particular issues surrounding their name, issues that are not so clean, then I think the government ought to think twice, because it's not our country that has investigated, but when you just Google online, this is some of the information that is out there. So I would have actually expected government to be cautious. And again, is this the only company that can do this thing? I think there's much more that is happening behind the scene that we actually don't know as Ugandans. That is why you find that huge amounts of monies are just dished out and hardly anything is happening. And I mean, like they said, why are all this money is being given out, and yet there are particular hospitals that they should have actually upgraded or even improved. So I think much more. I mean, there's a lot that we actually don't know. There's a lot of suspicion surrounding this whole issue of Lubowa Hospital and the various circumstances that are surrounding it.
In May, the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, sanctioned a probe after more than 140 billion shillings set aside for the construction of the hospital went missing. Civil society organizations, including Siatini, Oxfam, Uganda Debt Network and CS-BAG, have also put up flack against this project. They have questioned the transparency in the award of the deal. The other sticky issue is whether there is value for money as financing continues to be revised upwards, and why government has undertaken to absorb the largest proportion of risk.
As per the PPP Act 2015, why we decided to enter into PPPs is because the private sector is supposed to shoulder much of the risks. So government seeks to give away the risks and maximize the profits that come into PPPs. Unfortunately, in the Lubowa project, government is taking actually every risk. It is providing every incentive for the project to go in place. So That is already a problem, that we are so far already violating what the PPP Act 2015 provides for. Also, there are already violations regarding what the PPP Act provides for regarding such projects and what was done. For example, the PPP Act Article 7 provides for a PPP committee which is supposed to ensure that at the commencement in discussions, even before signing the contract, at the commencement of discussions of a PPP undertaking, the committee should be sought, should be involved. And the PPP unit also should be involved to understand, do due diligence, do the cost-benefit analysis and all that. In the ROA example, there was no involvement of the PPP committee.
The watchdog organizations opine that the hospital will cater for a few wealthy Ugandans, which is discriminatory at the time a majority of citizens are grappling with a huge disease burden, ailing infrastructure facilities, and a depleted financial and human capital.
If the hospital is meant for a selected few of people that actually end up going out of the country to get medical treatment, I think for me that is segregation, and it actually strengthens the patronage system, because who are these people that are actually benefiting from these so-called medical tourism at the detriment of other Ugandans? The ideal thing actually should be that this money should actually be used to upgrade Mulago Hospital, because I think it is very unfair to set up a facility for a selected few at the detriment of other taxpayers. And again, if this person is an investor, why can't investors come with their own money? The whole deal seems to be shady, and I think it seems to be very, very suspect.
We don't have, our citizens cannot afford payment for the services, because financing of their own, of the promissory notes, will be through out of pocket of the patients. And today, in the health financing, 50% of the monies in the health sector, financing the health sector, is out of pockets. Very high. So that's really the challenge, that we still have struggling citizens who are not even using the existing health services, and now the new project. So it is not really for the benefit of the citizens as per now.
For instance, 80 billion shillings is needed for the revamp of Mulago Hospital, 36 billion shillings is required for the completion of works at Mulago Specialized Hospital, and 76.1 billion shillings is required for the completion of Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Another 21 billion shillings is needed for establishing the Specialized Pediatric Surgical Hospital in Entebbe, and another 48.4 billion shillings for the establishment of specialized units at Mbale, Masaka, Mubende, Gulu, and Arua hospitals. The Uganda Cancer Institute needs $38 million to train specialists, procure specialized cancer equipment, and the construction of a center of excellence, while the Uganda Heart Institute needs 331 billion shillings for a standalone center of excellence. With the risks of costly litigation which could likely arise and the murky circumstances of this deal, the jury is still out whether this investment deserves such an astronomical funding. Emmanuel Mutaizibwa, NTV.